Hey folks, before I became aware of what actually happens in the so-called justice system, I was very much like you guys. I'd see some guy with, all these charges and how the media would describe him as a career criminal and a rap sheet a mile long. And you would hear all this stuff about how terrible they were, but yet is nothing compared to what they say about the so-called sex offender that they catch in a sting. Boy, I'll tell you, they trot that press release out and they say, as Detective Bauer did and others, that this is the worst of the worst. This is a horrible human being, sullying up and dirtying up your reputation because they can. It's easy when all they have to do is say internet, sex, and child, and boy, the stigma is on you like, a skunk spray on. Okay. I remember when we used to go to the outhouse. My biggest fear was not wolves, it was skunks. Because that smell could stick on you for a long, long time. It was very hard to get off, no matter what you do. And the sex stigma is very much like that. So here you have Detective Bauer, who's out there lying his ass off, along with everybody else in the proactive stings. And it's really kind of curious because, as Detective Bauer told me, he said, yeah, most of the people like you, they don't have a rap sheet a mile long. They really have no criminal activity at all before we, get them in a sex sting. I'm paraphrasing the last part, get them in a sex sting, because I should have said entrap them or stick them with something. But I wonder, shouldn't that work in your favor? I mean, after all, if you went 50 years without any kind of a sex sting or any kind of a criminal behavior, does it make sense that all of a sudden you lost your mind? And it's particularly confusing when the police go through your belongings, go through your house, search your person, search your car, search your devices, and they find nothing at all to indicate sexual interest in children at all. And you would think that would be enough for them to think, maybe we made a mistake. It's not like some of these cases where they find child pornography on all the devices and everything. So it's even more confusing that suddenly you would be up on multiple charges for each conversation. Particularly, imagine if every text you sent were charged 5 years against you. You could have life in prison before the end of the page. Well, this is what they do in the proactive stings, and they do it because entrapment is no longer something that the courts worry too much about. Yes, it's true, in the 1990s was probably the last time that they gave a frick about entrapment techniques, but nowadays they have all the cards, and with the war on sex and the fear-mongering about how there's some pervert in every bush trying to grab somebody's kid, all they have to do is breathe the word before the public or the judge, sex, online, child, and you are more than halfway to your conviction. So it's very odd that this proactive sting situation, which we have to rely heavily on what the police tell the court, because if you have no sex talk and the police initiate it and there's nothing on your devices and there's hardly a picture, certainly you knew somebody had changed their age on you, which created a confusion, none of that seems to matter to the court, because even though it would all point toward exonerating you, somehow it just makes you more guilty. So are you more guilty? Or is it that they really need you to be guilty?